Hello, everyone, and welcome to the XR Lab podcast. My name is George Rowe. I'm an instructional designer with Interactive eLearning and the XR Lab, and I am here in Studio Q, joined by Pradnya Desh, who sits on the Bellevue College Board of Trustees. Can you tell us just a bit about yourself before we get started?
Sure. I'm the chairman of the board of the Bellevue College Board of Trustees and have had several roles on the way here. I started out as an economist for the federal government, and I focused on trade at the time, and that really led me to take to go to law school, take the bar exam, and become a U.S. diplomat. And so I represented the United States at embassies all around the world and at the World Trade Organization in Geneva, Switzerland. And then after that, I moved here to Bellevue, and I started a law firm. I did that for a few years, and in the process of running a law firm, I realized that there's a particular problem that I really wanted to fix, so I started a tech company to fix that. And I'm running the tech company currently while serving on the Bellevue College Board of Trustees.
Nice. So you've clearly worn many hats: U.S. diplomat, attorney, college board trustee member, and an entrepreneur. This is quite an impressive career journey across public service, education, and technology. So looking back, what role has learning and continuous education played in your life, and are there particular values or interests that seem to thread through your various accomplishments?
Oh, definitely. Continuous learning has really been the through line through all of it, because being able to get from one place to another, by doing that, I needed to be able to pick up new skills. And so I love learning. I love that the curiosity and the value that brings to a person. And so going from an economist to a U.S. diplomat, I went to law school. And in law school, that was a credential that I needed to have to get to the next step. And I loved to be able to, at that time, reset my career and look at the world in a different way. And that's something I think that learning really gives you. And then going from a diplomat to running a law firm, that was simply, I didn't have to get another credential, but I learned from so many different sources. I learned a lot from the clients that I worked with. I learned from colleagues. I learned from community members. And then in that process of learning, while in a law firm, I learned that there's a particular problem that I really wanted to solve, which is legal services are too expensive. And that really came from curiosity and hearing people's stories and learning. And that's why I started my next role, which was the CEO of Advocat AI. And tech is pretty different than running a law firm.
So it started in 2019 with a bold mission: to make contracting joyful instead of painful. You've said AI should handle the rote work so humans can focus on strategy, relationships, and purpose. Can you paint a brief picture of what a joyful legal process looks like in practice?
Absolutely. So in general, whenever people think of law, they don't usually think of joy. And that's something that I set out to change because of the human interaction that underlies all of it. Because when people go to lawyers, it's usually it's not because of joy that brings them there. It's often that they're starting a new endeavor and they need advice on what to do next. They're stressed, they're nervous about what is happening in their life. It might be that a right of theirs is being threatened and they need to consult a lawyer so that they can protect their rights. And so given that stressful interaction, I wanted to see what we could bring to the process to increase the human interaction. And lawyers spend a lot of time cutting and pasting and doing legal research and doing parts that are not about connecting and expressing empathy and human judgment. And so the parts that weren't uniquely human, I wanted to take that away and allow an AI to do it, to allow lawyers to emphasize the part that is uniquely human, caring for their client and helping the client reach the best decision possible.
So let's bring that same lens to Bellevue College. Where do you see the sweet spot between AI handling the repetitive, time-consuming tasks versus the uniquely human elements that require judgment, empathy, and creative problem solving? And how might this apply to education specifically?
There's so much, especially now, there's so much application to education. We're really living at a time in which what it means to learn and what it means to be early in one's career and really to be in the workforce at all, fundamentally changing what that means. And so as a college, there is a lot that we need to wrestle with, because we're preparing students for their future. And that is our duty, but it's also our privilege to be able to prepare students for what is next. And by doing that, we need to figure out what's next. And so it applies in that what is it that students need to learn, and what is it that in the future or even currently in the workforce is not being done by humans anymore. And often, so in law, entry-level work, it was cutting and pasting and looking up things for partners and preparing something so someone else can apply judgment. And those are the types of jobs that are being taken away by AI. And so we need to figure out how to train students in what is next. And what is next really is the critical thinking, the working in teams, human judgment, the parts that AI won't do. And so I think it has fundamental implications for what we teach as a college, because the way that we taught before, the homework assignments that we gave before can be done by AI. And that presents challenges to professors, but it also presents challenges to students who might be tempted to just allow the AI to do their homework, because then what are they learning? Are they really getting their critical thinking skills? And so I guess what I'm saying here is it's not a solved problem. We haven't figured it out yet, but it's something that we are wrestling with figuring out, because it's our duty to prepare students for what's next.
So continuing this conversation about AI, this technology is transforming workplaces globally in fascinating ways. And you've perhaps seen this firsthand from your time at the WTO to trade missions in Asia. What examples of AI implementation have you seen internationally that you find particularly compelling, or that might offer insights for institutions like Bellevue College?
That's an interesting question. So when I worked internationally most closely, AI wasn't really something that was generally available to everybody. And so it wasn't something that we considered when I worked as much internationally. However, what I think relates most closely to the question is that we've seen different regulatory frameworks in different countries. And in the United States in general, AI, for the most part, is unregulated or very lightly regulated. In Europe, it's really different. There is an AI Act that determines what can and cannot be done. One of the things that the AI Act includes is that an AI cannot read human emotions. And if you think about a lot of the products, the AI products that we have, reading human emotions are pretty central to it. If you think of a customer service bot in which somebody interacts with, say, oh, I want to return this item. I've only used it twice. Please let me return it, right? The human emotions part of that, the increasing frustrations are core. And the products that we're seeing in the EU are not the same way. So it affects business processes of whether you can or cannot sell your product in Europe. But it also affects the accuracy and the quality of products that you see in the EU. And so to me, it more informs what we do, how we regulate AI in the U.S. as a contrast to the way they do it in Europe.
So it's likely that most students and even many faculty couldn't name a single trustee or explain exactly what the board does. Yet the board sets strategic direction and approves budgets for the college, which are impactful to everyone here. So in 1 or 2 minutes, can you demystify this for us? What's the one thing you wish the Bellevue College community understood about the board's role?
Yeah, so the board's role is to keep the college accountable to achieving the goals of the students, the faculty, the staff, and the community at large. So we represent the community. So we're a group of 5 people appointed by the governor to manage the high-level strategic direction of the college, and that includes approving a budget that's submitted by the administration, as well as writing and being the stewards of the mission, vision, and values of the college. We have 4 community members and 1 student trustee as part of our board.
Nice. So that helps me actually gain a better understanding. I'm one of those faculty, by the way. So I want to look more broadly now. We are living through a period of significant disruption. So technological advances, we talked about AI, economic shifts and political division, and also social changes. How can the board and college community work together to support students and help them thrive during these stressful times, especially in ways that go beyond the classroom?
Yeah, I love that question because it really it's grounded in the fact that we are partners working together, and that we are, while we don't have all the answers, right? The world is moving so fast. We're on the same ship, moving forward together to try to figure out what is next and how do we achieve our objectives better. And so how can the board and your question, how can the board and the faculty and staff work together, is that I think that in the challenging budget environment, in the challenging regulatory environment, in the challenging political environment, I think the first thing that I want everybody to know is that we have your back. We want to make sure that we work together to figure out how to make it easier to do what you do, and how to jointly solve these problems together. And so we hear different things in the community because we're connected in different ways, is that many of us come from industry, at least on the board, and that we bring our lens and our networks to the benefit of the college to help think through, say, the future of AI, or to think through how within our difficult budget climate we can maximize our goals while being true to our vision and delivering on our values. And that is something that we're working together on, and I think a lot of communication is important. We have monthly board meetings in which people come and speak to us. It's something I really value highly because we hear a variety of opinions within those board meetings, and it's really important to hear them because when we only hear one voice, we're probably missing people who aren't speaking and sharing what they think.
So speaking about what other people think, having recently run for public office, you've engaged with community members on a broad range of issues. What did you learn from that experience, and about what people in our community need and value from their educational institutions?
Yeah. So I learned so much from that experience. I'm so glad that I've had that experience. I talked to thousands of people, and that in running for political office, that means knocking on doors and having conversations with neighbors. It means answering questions in candidate forums, and it means having conversations in coffee shops. And I learned that the people are really struggling right now. People are really struggling with affordability. They're really struggling with stress because there's so much mental load. They're handling so many things. At our college, the faculty and staff are trying to be there for their students while at the same time themselves under enormous amounts of stress. And managing all those hats is intense. And while at the same time struggling with the fact that our economy makes affordability for housing, for goods, really challenging. And so I learned really how acute and intense the problem is, and several policy solutions that we can try, but we as a country have diverged from making items affordable for people, and we have to do that better.
All right, thank you. So wrapping up with our last question. It's not really a lightning round because it's only one question.
Okay.
But to round off, what gives you the most hope or excitement about the future of Bellevue College and the students we serve?
Oh, it's the students, without a doubt. Every conversation that I have with students, I just love it. So right now, we just concluded it, is the Washington State Supreme Court was convening on our campus. And we got to hear oral arguments, and then after that, the students could ask questions of the justices. And just the sincerity and the depth and just the intelligence of the questions gives me so much hope for the future, because what I see is that the students are not waiting for somebody else to figure it out for them. They're definitely thinking through many of the questions that we're all trying to figure out. And who knows, maybe they're going to be the ones that come up with the answer because we're locked in our views that we've been trying to solve the problems that we have been working hard to solve, and they're asking the right questions. And that really gives me hope for the future.
Thank you, Pradnya. It was really interesting talking to you today, and I hope that we will hear from you again in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.